Okay. Yo. It's your boy, Seafoam Soldier. I can't shout. I'm in a flat place. And I've got flats either side of me. So I've got to be relatively chill. So
Right.
if I'm low, I'm not low energy. I'm just trying to keep my volume down a little bit. So that's the tea. And with me today, I've got...
You have got Floppy Bob. Also, I love, Grant, that you're Soldier. Like, you're very continental now.
I've got enough in the world. I'm not going to apologise for it. You can't make me. Right, today we have watched episode 5. Wait, yeah, 5, right? Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5.
Of Dragula, season 3. We've got some thoughts on it. I think it's another really good episode, especially like a really good one to chat about as well.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah. I think again, like as I said before, like when we did the first few episodes, I was kind of like, we're going to even bother streaming for the rest of it. There's not anything to say. Nothing's really going on. It's pretty boring. But no, I think it's another good episode and like loads of stuff to talk about. I think so.
Yeah, it's one of my. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's one of my favorite runways. I think this season so far.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And like, yeah, it does feel like things are going up. I still have a few bits that I have some other strong opinions about, but no, it seems like things are kind of going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Oh shit, the battery's flashing on this. If my mic dies, let me know. Yeah, I think there's spare batteries in here, so I can probably just replace them. But let me know.
So should I start like a long monologue just so you can like?
Exactly. Right. Okay. So as always, just explain anything I've seen the stream before. Not really watching right now anyway, but you know. So I wrote down notes.
Dragula is art, and art is subjective.
It's subjective.
What we're here to do is analyze Dragula as it pertains to decent entertainment and somewhat okay drag.
Actually, we should do it every week. That's really good.
Thank you. I'm quite proud. I literally off the cuff, just
off the hoof.
Off the hoof. Classic.
So yeah, I've written down notes pertaining to parts of the episode, thoughts that bits I thought were interesting and worth talking about. But you know, obviously, if there's anything else you want to add, then interject. Same in the chat as well when people get involved. So yeah, kind of the format. If not, the comments down below. The stream will be finished because we carry on talking about it. We're still in this life. So my first note is okay. I think the first note, a couple of those kind of tie into one. So my first note is Madeline kind of apologizes for the outburst, but mainly not really. And then my second note is everyone's kind of pissed off by Maxie, but mainly not really.
Yeah,
right?
it's weird because I think the queens. I don't know. I guess maybe it's like in past episodes. I guess there's obviously been the tension between certain people, and it feels like a lot of their apologies have just sort of been like, oh yeah, I did a bad thing, so not sorry. And then like you're right, there are so many queens who they just seem to. I feel like maybe they did like put them in dorms this year or something, like because they seem to actively hate being around certain people in a way that feels completely divorced from what's actually gone on in the episodes that we've seen, at least in the televised aspects of it. And it seems a lot more to do with like, oh, I find this person generally irritating to be around, which seems like it comes from a much more like a much more personal place than a sort of professional one, I guess. Oh, I think you've died. It's my show now. While Grant is sorting himself out, easy, careful. I think that's kind of sort of basically what I wanted to say. I'm sure Grant will chip in when he has a microphone. This looks like an act of sabotage now, doesn't it? Like I've just just like purposely been like, what's that, Grant? Yeah, set up a stream. I'm going to take over your show. Because it's our show, not yours. But yes, so I think it's super interesting. Sorry, that we've had this weird arc with Madeline, and now it seems like the show is kind of putting it to rest. And like the show is kind of saying like, okay, yeah, we're kind of done talking about all the Madeline stuff. This arc is kind of gone about as far as it can. Who else can have a sort of moment now? Which then leads us this episode into Priscilla and a lot of the kind of leftover residual stuff about Maxie. But everyone seemed like super glad that she was gone. And who, Grant can fill me in a sec. Who was it who stayed from that elimination? I can't remember. Was it Madeline? Oh, it was. So yeah, 'cause it was the weird, stupid challenge. So it does seem strange that now Madeline's had that moment of surviving. Is this meant to be her redemption arc thing? Not to talk about it all, obviously, as like narrative arcs, but that kind of does feel like I was. Hello, I hear you. I hear you,
Sorry
Grant.
about that. I thought it had batteries in this box. It's like all these boxes of like random goods, and there's loads of batteries in here, but it's like 4 packets of AAAs. But then luckily I had the controller with AA's in, so that's the end of that drama.
There we
Thank
go.
you. You did very good there, Bob, but also showed everyone why it's not your show.
I hate you.
Going off the back of what you just said, I'm interested. What are your thoughts on Madeline at the moment? Do you like her?
Actually, this episode, I was kind of getting really pissed off with her, and I actually quite liked her this episode. Not necessarily because of her personality. I still think I find her a bit tricky. I just quite enjoyed her look, and I enjoyed particularly the presentation aspect of it. Like what she did with.
Sorry, but specifically her as a person, I guess, not her.
Oh no, I'm still not massively feeling her. I mean, better. I feel like she, I'm glad that in that episode she kind of went, like last episode she was like, fuck it, let's just fight to stay, because that's kind of the Madeline I think I've always wanted to see. Like, she's been a bit cutthroat and a bit bitchy, but you kind of want to see her apply that to just being a very good competitor, as opposed to just like tearing people down or having like stupid weird dramas with people.
Well, I guess that's kind of it. Like, I suppose the other episodes, what put me off about her was that she was kind of tearing other people down. She was getting on everyone's nerves and creating drama and stuff. But to be fair, like this episode, she didn't really do that. Like, she didn't really like get involved negatively with anyone else, I suppose. And I think same last episode as well. Last episode she was annoying in terms of that like breakdown she had herself, but she wasn't really like coming for anyone else specifically that I remember last episode or anything. So
no,
I'm kind of like warming to her a little bit. Like I don't. That's the thing. Like I quite like her. Like I would be. I think it's at the point where I would be like low key sad if she left. Like not tearing up, but like it'd be good.
Yeah, I feel like she. Yeah.
Looks wise, like I'm drifting away. Like I liked her quite a lot initially, but every episode I'm liking her looks less and less personally. We'll talk about them probably later in a bit. But so it's the other side of me. Like I think she's one of the most interesting people on the show in terms of I don't know. She's
got character.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think she's like the nicest person necessarily or anything. I don't think she's not nice or anything either. But I think that's kind of fun of it. I'm still trying to work her out. Like she just intrigues me. Like the aspects of her, I want to know more about her. Basically, I guess at the end of the day. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the thing she does. I think there is a bit more life in her than there are in some of the others. Like Priscilla, I'm glad that we finally got to see a bit of her in terms of her personality, because I think I'd been finding her a little tricky before, because I just felt like she was just a bit of a bitch to everyone. And that was her personality, was literally coming in and being like, ugh. Yeah. And then so it's nice to have a bit more background to her. And in many ways, actually, the only one who's left, the one who was left in that episode that we haven't had much of a thing about was Hollow. Actually, she's probably the only one there who we've not had. Let's get to know Hollow kind of moments.
Well, we have, because she's forced it on us basically every episode.
Well, that's the thing, but that's what makes me feel like it's not getting to know her, because she's forced it, and so I'm like, this isn't you getting. This isn't like us knowing who you actually are and like uncovering something. This is you just like yelling like a monologue.
I disagree. Let's get into it, because I feel like that is her. Like I feel like she has like issues or whatever, like that makes her like have this shield and this like facade she really forces forward. So I don't think I think this is her at this moment in time, or whenever the show was recorded or whatever. I don't think there is like, this is the main thing she wants people to see. So
that's very true, actually. And yeah, in fairness, I guess in my mind, I'm kind of wanting her to show some vulnerability, but then I feel like actually that's probably quite a weird, unfair expectation. Like, cry, bitch, like cry. Now we know who you are. Like, obviously, it's not like that. But no, I think that's what I find odd about her, is that I think you've got this, like this big like front being put up all the time. Like, if I shout this monologue at you, then it means you're not going to question anything else about me. And I think what was interesting this episode actually is seeing like the chinks in the armor, where like she started kind of getting quite nervy before the critiques.
Yes, yeah. But more than that, it's not just throwing like the look or something. It's throwing like she's using like her art and the way she views it and behaves about it as her shield. Like she's kind of using art as like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. I guess we'll dive into it, like more in the actual like when we talk about it properly. I guess later on. But so rewinding a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think this is an interesting episode in terms of like the setup for it as well. So the makeup restriction. I think it's the first episode of either Drag Race or Dragula where there's been any sort of like restriction or rules or whatever. I can't remember, the word lost me. Put on makeup, which I think is quite interesting.
It's normally materials, isn't it? It's normally okay. It's a dumpster dive kind of couture, or it's you can only use this fabric that we've given you, or you can only use whatever. But I actually quite like that angle of you've got to get creative with your makeup, because normally that's a lot of queens will it'll be like a dumpster dive challenge, but then they've got like 10 grand's worth of makeup on their face, and it is quite weird. So this is that's quite fun. I loved it was this episode, right, where they were like pissing about with makeup the day before the actual challenge. So you've just got Louisiana just looking absolutely ridiculous. Which I loved. I was actually that because Louisiana isn't one who I've always massively loved, and I was like, actually, you're quite fun. Like I feel like as much as I don't always love your drag or whatever, like this is a nice moment. Like we don't have to be best friends.
She does seem nice.
Yeah, it was a nice moment of her just being like, "Woo, I look ridiculous." And you're like, "Yes, you do, Louisiana. That's great."
Yeah, that's fair.
Do this look for the main stage.
Actually, it would have been better to be fair, but we'll talk about it in a bit. But what am I saying? But yes, I feel like obviously like your general presentation is what drag's all about. But I think specifically like drag queens is kind of like judged mainly on their makeup. Like, that's kind of like the main skill I'd say for being a drag queen is makeup. So it's weird to me they put restrictions on other areas like clothes constantly, but this is the first time about makeup. And I think great, like definitely do it more often. Game has so many like types of restrictions for clothes, we're kind of maybe running out. But like for makeup, we've got like everything. This is the first time they've done something like that. So
and especially kudos in that sense to Landon, because like drag king makeup is so reliant on like doing kind of a lot of rather intense kind of contouring and what have you, because it's you have to kind of create something instead of just sort of deflecting from it or shielding from it. And to do that with alternative materials is kind of mind-blowing, actually.
That's an important point to make. So we've got like the drama of the episode, which is Priscilla. So basically, again, it's all weird the way it was set up. So Madeline takes this
weird.
Trying to keep quiet, which is weird for me. So Madeline obviously takes Priscilla to one side, and then Priscilla shares her story, and then Hollow is being seen as laughing over it or whatever, and then this whole massive drama kind of ensues. And then the next day, just to round it off, the next day Priscilla does apologise to everyone. So what did you think about all that?
I was just a bit like tired during it. I was just like, it's that kind of classic reality TV kind of trope, isn't it? Of like someone overhears something or someone feels like there's all this misunderstanding, and then everyone tries to apologize. And I was like, I absolutely see why that was a big thing for Priscilla. Like, because you could see Priscilla didn't want to talk that openly. Like Priscilla was struggling to talk about it. And so I can imagine having any kind of distraction, particularly a distraction that is laughter or something, might actually send Priscilla to quite a bad place, in the sense of already feeling a lot of shame, already feeling a lot of kind of awkwardness around the whole situation. However, I think it wouldn't have necessarily been that much of a leap of the imagination for Priscilla at that moment to then be like, obviously she's probably not thinking massively rationally because of what's going on in her head at that moment, but I think you would quite quickly realize that Hollow didn't mean it that way, I'm sure. I think, and I mean,
that's what she said the next day, to be fair.
Yeah, true. And I guess it's weird because the editing made it look like Hollow was right next to them, whereas actually, from all the conversations they had later, Hollow was kind of further back in the room.
Well, but that's kind of one thing I wanted to say, because like I don't understand what really happened, because whether it's like a reality TV thing or like Madeline, I don't know, because she's like I need to. She's trying to be really subtle. She's like, let me show you what I've been working on. like as in wanting to take her to one side conspicuously to talk about things, but then like you think having this private conversation initially, I think everyone watching would be like, okay, cool, but like in another room or another area or whatever. And then you hollow laugh, and the camera pans like 2 centimeters to the left. She's right there. I'm like, what is this about? Like, why would you bother being conspicuous? Like, if you knew you're taking her to there, why would you bother trying to be conspicuous about it and be or inconspicuous about it and be like, I need to show you what I'm working on or whatever, and then be like, right, girl, like, tell me about your breakdown. Like, right, it's still in the same space. It doesn't really make sense. So maybe like Madeline wanted to take her somewhere else, but the producer's like, nah, you got to stay in this room or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, it seems a bit weird to me. Like the whole premise of it seems a bit weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was just trying to. I don't know. Like I kind of feel like it was more like the whole thing was kind of more an error of production or an error of like. Well, maybe Madeline. If Madeline's choice was to take her literally right next to everyone, and then expect everyone to listen to it. Because then again, she's like, so the whole point was, you know, they should be quiet and listen, you know, or whatever. Like the whole point you took her to one side was to have some private time for her away from everyone. So like, what is going on here? You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I hadn't thought about it in those terms. I think it did feel like it had definitely been hammed up on some level, probably by production. I think it was just quite weird because I think, like you had the whole like Hollow Eve behind the curtain, almost like Christina Aguilera style, of like going in and being like, "Oh no, they're talking about me. I can't," and you're like, "Fucking like Hollow, like get over it." Like, I mean, I think that.
To be fair, you know what? Like she is very annoying in basically all circumstances. But I think she did right. Like
she did do the right thing there.
Yeah, she's annoying initially, but then she went back. She's like, you know, this moment is not about me. Sorry, that's how I touched my. This moment is not about me. It's about her. She needs to vent or whatever. Like, that is a good way. Like she's looking at things objectively.
I'm glad she did that. Like I thought that was actually that took a bit of courage to actually just be like, you know what, I know leaving this space, they're still going to be talking about me. And you know what, I'm okay with that because it's like you said, it's not about me. And like had she gone in, I think it would have then turned into Madeline and Hollow just duking it out, and Priscilla's just sat there like, can I just cry? Like, can I can I have any moment to do my bit? So I think that was the right thing. It just all seemed like it kind of just escalated super quickly, and I was like, well, this is quite exhausting actually.
Also kind of a norm for this show. Like I wouldn't expect what happened, you know?
Yeah, true. It's not like they're going to sit down and just have a nice little cup of tea and be like, this is all fine. But
so I was like, again, I was impressed with, again, I thought a lot of Priscilla's episode. I was impressed with the way she came back next day. She again, like it takes a bit. I think it takes a lot to apologize sincerely, especially to a group of people, and be like, look, like. Yeah, like I overreacted. I'm sorry. It's due to reasons that make sense. Like, you know, it's really a tricky time, and she like was very emotional generally. And when she explained, I thought she explained herself well, and the apology was like genuine. And it was like vulnerable. Like it's a vulnerable thing to do that, especially on like national TV in front of a group of people, your peers in competition or whatever. So yeah, like I was fully here for it, kind of. Like so, like she annoyed me, but then like. She can't. So I guess she was kind of like this for me in competition. Then she kind of annoyed me with like the overreaction a little bit. But then like her, like the way she handled it, kind of put me above where I initially thought of her.
Yeah. I totally agree. Absolutely the same for me. And I think I liked that her apology was, I apologize for doing this. Like, I'm not going to excuse my behavior because of all of this, but also I'm not going to apologize 100% for reacting this way out of kind of a need to survive, you know, kind of it was kind of a nice middle ground of like the things that were in my control are here and I apologize for those things. Also these other things happened. Also thank you for understanding. Like it was really well done.
It was like it had an air of eroticism about it that I really appreciated for sure.
I think there's an air of eroticism in everything for you, isn't there?
That's actually very true. But more than that, on that note, the thing I was more happy with was that like no one, for some reason on the second day, I guess because they were going to be painting stuff on in Sharpie anyway, no one came with their normal Sharpie eyebrows for once. Like everyone working like fine. Everyone looks so much better. Like Priscilla with no eyebrows as opposed to those like Sharpie things. She looks like 20 times better. I find them like irrationally annoying. So I don't know. I was very happy. Like it made it very easy for me.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, given what we've been saying before about some of the runways being quite lackluster because they felt a bit out of the box, You know, like they've just sort of bought like, you know, is it out of the bag? No, what's it? Is it out of the box? When you like, as in like, it looks like a bought look.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and I think that's what I'd been finding quite frustrating, is a lot of the looks are like, oh, there we go, predictable. And although like a trash challenge, there are some things you're going to expect. I really liked where they went with them.
Yeah.
They weren't really. I mean, with the Dolia and Priscilla were probably the two people whose looks kind of crossed over the most. But even then, they had quite different approaches.
Yeah. I
To
very different. Yeah. But I see what you're saying. So should we
yeah.
go through? Should we go through them all one by one? Give our thoughts.
Yes, please.
Okay. So first of all, boulets.
Oh yeah, I quite liked it. It's quite a simple look for them, I thought, but
yeah. It's weird. This like roach print that's become big. Like I don't know if it was before Alaska or because of Alaska on the reunion or whatever. But loads of queens have done that look since.
Yeah.
And they did it well though. Like I like that it wasn't like the whole outfit wasn't that print. It's first I've seen it where like just the underpart was that print or whatever. Like I'm here for it, but it's just a bit this roach print's been all the rage for the last 2 years or whatever. But you know, fine. But the only note I really had is that the taller one's makeup I thought was noticeably better than the smaller one for once.
Yeah. Actually, there was a weird line on the smaller one.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah,
on their jaw. Yeah,
that's exactly what I clocked. Yeah, it's a lot softer. Like the taller one's makeup was so much softer than the other ones this week. And, like, this is the thing because I feel like I don't know when we talked about it before. Because I don't know if my views shifted. But I think I like the taller one more generally. Like I think I used to find it the other way around. I think the taller one used to annoy me a bit more. But now I like the taller one more, and I think the taller one, like, although they have more of an atypical look, I generally tend to prefer their execution of the look as opposed to, even though it's somewhat less polished. Maybe I don't really know why it is different, but for some reason I prefer that one.
Fair. I think I still prefer the little boulet slightly more, but
this season, I don't know what's happened to me, Bob. Maybe it's Japan. I don't know.
Yeah, Japan's shifting your perceptions on this.
Very Harajuku, you know. I thought Harajuku again when I saw that taller one. I feel like it could be it. This is your time. This is your time to shine, Bob. Bitch pudding panel.
Yes. Hang on, sorry, bitch pudding. I didn't miss. I didn't catch the last part of what you said because I was just shouting yes.
What are you saying?
So say that.
What are your thoughts on bitch pudding and her look, being a judge, all of that?
Oh, I was so happy about this. Not only that she's in the episode, but she looked incredible.
She looks very good.
And like that the blue body paint all over her was really well done because it was very consistent. It wasn't like, so if you think like, I still have a bit of a thing about this. Alaska in All Stars 2 during Read You Wrote You when she had the blue body paint all over her, and it was really patchy and like it wasn't
right. She used the wrong paint for it.
Was that why? I didn't realize.
It wasn't body paint, so she didn't realize it. Like I didn't notice it, but she's admitted it. She's talked about it on the podcast a couple of times. So
right, but no. So that's the thing. Bitches one was so good, and I love the little crown. It was obviously a cute little thing, and also she was kind of. I like that she's the right queen to judge this episode. Like she is kind of quite good at the whole trashy side of things. But what I liked is she was a little bit trashy, but very polished trash for this. This, I mean, like this for me reinforces absolutely why I'm so glad that she won.
I agree. I think she was, she's a smash out of the park kind of thing. And also, like we talk about it in a minute, but I think it kind of highlighted the flaws in Lana's execution even more because I think they kind of had a lot of crossover in their looks.
That's a very good point.
But we'll talk about it in a second. So let's start off with Priscilla then. What are your thoughts?
Priscilla, I really liked it. I'm not entirely sure why everyone was raving about it to quite the extent they did. Maybe I'm missing something. I thought it was really clever, though. I did love it. I like that the performance of it made it filthier, as in like it was literally already like quite a dirty look, and she was then squeezing mustard and ketchup or whatever all over herself.
It's been done before in Dragula. Am I dreaming that?
I feel like it has been. I think maybe this is because that was going through my head. I was like, there's something about this that doesn't feel entirely like completely thinking outside the box. But
and for me, I think that kind of summarizes my views on the look. Like I kind of agree with you to an extent. Like I don't think anything was necessarily revolutionary about the look, but I just think it was extremely well executed.
Very, very well done. There was the possum head or whatever it was as well.
Really cool.
Which I thought a really good touch because it was actually I thought really well done because it was very central, like as in it kind of drew the eye in. It was symmetrically like right in the middle. It had like stuff around it. And I thought that was a really clever twist because it not only took it to like, oh, I've just got random shit on me. It is just like random shit, but also like quite quite well curated shit almost. Like
I think she's going for like a hillbilly motif, right? Like it was
yeah.
from the side of the road, like roadkill, like trash princess kind of thing. Like it just again, she's done some similar things like that before in terms of the way she's personified her looks or whatever. But yeah, I just think and the more I looked at it, the more I liked it as well. Again, I don't think it wasn't like a Nabora look or a look where it's like, oh, I've never seen anything like this before. But I just think, like I liked it a lot. I think it was just
it was well done.
So I do understand why they're raving about it personally, but also I do agree with you that like it wasn't like mind blowing. But I think I think she deserved to win 100% personally.
I was quite interested actually because I thought maybe I missed something, but in the episode itself, I seem to remember her saying a lot about how she created this kind of like trash, like white trash kind of character as a defense to like. And then I was like, oh, but that's what you're doing this entire episode. I was a bit confused by that. I was like, I thought her breakthrough in the episode was her kind of realizing she didn't need to do that, but then she just did that.
She said a few times that like she was gonna like do instead of being an actual trash queen, like in terms of like being.
Sorry, you are right. I do remember her saying that.
Like, it's cool because you didn't watch it just now. Did you watch it a few days ago or whatever? You watched it last week, so
I watched it last week. Yeah.
But yeah,
but no, sorry. Just a quick note on that. I do think it was very clever, and it was just it was very very well done. I think it does make sense for me that she won.
118. So what do you think, Eva?
See, I think she got a bit of hate for this. I do agree with the Boules that it was very, very simple, too simple for what was happening. I thought it was quite clever. I thought it was quite fun. I liked it. I do think it could have had a lot more because the joke is there. Like, you get the point, you get the joke instantly, and then there's not much more. Like,
yeah, but I loved it. I loved it because it was like really unique, and as someone who does have body hair, like I commend her for that. Like, where she's got any hang-ups around it or anything like that, but like I don't know, I don't know if it was like it looked really cool. I love that juxtaposition. I remember when I think we were streaming, but I'm sure we were for season 7 with like the half man half woman challenge. Like I love mix like the masculinity and femininity in that way, where like her demeanor and like the face and the actual outfit itself is so good. The body's like hyper masculine, so like
I like that.
So like I really thought it was super cool. Just again, like so different, also what I really like is things that haven't been done before and are really different. Like saw like someone like that walking down the street, you feel like, what the fuck? Like it's just
conceptually, I think it's simple but really genius, like when you dig down into it, because you're like, she is basically just going full on, like, and actually I totally agree, because that face was really that was actually a really beautiful face, but then with a bit of beard and then like going straight into like the body hair, like nothing else. A really bold move, because she had to show a lot of herself. And I think we've not seen her even show that much skin at all in any of her looks. Like, she's been pretty covered for most looks.
Exactly.
So I thought that was really fun and really clever. And I think I really enjoyed. Sorry, I just suddenly realised there was a chat. So hi, Cos. Hi, and bye, Cos. But yeah, so I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very bold move. Like I was saying earlier, my criticism is kind of that, like, the joke is there, you get it, and then I kind of was looking for like a tiny detail that extended the joke.
But this is the thing. See, I don't know whether it's just me like overly like reading into it. Like, I get it was just very tongue in cheek, but I think it was kind of like the male in a way, maybe not to the same extent, but like kind of the male like equivalent of Hollow's look in some way, and it like it's kind of like shaving, like especially like makes so much pressure around body hair and looking a certain way. Like, I feel like we're having all the razors and like, but still with the body hair, it's being like fuck shaving, fuck like your idea of like what I should look like, and like. That's how I read into it. And again, I feel like people with a lot of body hair, there's a lot of hang-ups around it because there's pressure around it kind of thing. So I know I thought
sorry.
No, sorry. So I was basically just saying, I thought it was like a powerful statement, but at the same time, it was tongue in cheek. At the same time, like her makeup was beautiful. There's a good juxtaposition there. So for me, like, I get why Priscilla won. I think she deserved to win personally, but my personal favorite was Eva's because it just really spoke to me. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and I think what is quite fun about it is like it is a bold move, not only because of having to be fairly naked and exposed, but drag queens so often, particularly on kind of shows, like drag queens who normally would feature on Drag Race, especially, there is so much pressure for them to be like depilated within an inch of their lives, like no hair,
Yeah.
no whatever, which is actually quite a very narrow view of femininity to be presenting.
And the feminine
Um,
physically as well, plastic surgery as well. So
yeah, precisely. And I think it's really fun to see that look. I really have to admit, I really enjoyed the ends of razors being turned into the
yeah,
eyebrows.
that was really cool.
I really enjoyed that. I mean, it's hard because I know I was sort of saying I wanted something else to continue the joke. I don't know what that would have been. I can't think of.
Yeah.
It would have been hard to have added an extra
That's
element.
what I mean, like for me, like it had that initial joke of like, yeah, like it was funny, but then like the power of like standing there looking like that, like again, like basically
Mm,
naked, like
I,
something that some people would look negatively upon or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
just like I don't know, like it had like the other aspect of me that like carried it through for sure.
yeah,
Like the
definitely.
polish again, like sorry.
Oh no, I said definitely. Yeah, carry on.
But like the polish of the makeup as well, like again for the sharpie,
Mm,
like the makeup was one of like was beautiful in the way she used the dots and stuff. Like,
yeah,
or was that Dolly who did the dots? I can't remember, but basically her makeup was great, especially like
yeah.
given the restrictions. So I think like technical execution was very good, and
Mm,
it had like humor and it had like a good message behind it. So
mm,
and it was something completely unique. So for me, it ticked all the boxes, 100%.
definitely.
I
It was very
understand. No,
well crafted. Oh, sorry.
no, just so, but I do understand where you're coming from. I guess it's just like a
Mm,
personal like what resonates with you thing kind of thing, and like
yeah.
be like no complaints at all.
No, definitely. I mean, I think it was also. I mean, it was really well crafted because it's so easy with like if you've got millions of razors to have them kind of just like in any old order. They were really kind of
Yeah,
meshed. Like it was a tight structure. It moved in quite a nice way when she
yeah.
moved.
Feel,
So yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. My fear because I really love Eva and I've been really enjoying her this season is I think I was worried for her because I saw her come out and I'm like, oh, this look is good, but like, is it like good enough to keep her out of the bottom? Like I wouldn't have put her in the bottom personally, but I can see why for the Boulets that was where they went with it, and particularly given the
I
interview
guess
kind of adding on top.
what I'm kind of thinking about it though is like I don't know whether it's just like a PC thing or like I know it's not to the same extent, obviously, but like Hollow was very forceful with her message, and like
Mm,
a lot of the judging panel repeatedly said how much I respected that, and it was a very like focal point of her and like her judging in the episode and everything. But like I didn't feel like the same kind of like extra credit was given to Eva for
mm,
doing something
I
again
agree.
that was like trying to put a message forward or whatever.
I agree. Yeah,
So
totally agree.
what's annoying about it? That's the thing. Like again, no one's disagreeing. Like it's like you said, Brucey. No one's disagreeing. We'll talk about it properly in a minute. But no one's disagreeing with your message, Hollow. But like the way you're so aggressive about it, it's so annoying. But like as I say, when
Oh my
Eva,
god,
sticking on Eva, I'm saying that like Eva didn't even mention it. It was just like
no,
just read between the lines and interpret it like in the way you want. She's not trying to force the message down your throat. Although it was a very
right,
like, quite loud, maybe obnoxious outfit or whatever. She wasn't like forcing this message forward. She's just
yeah,
like, look, this is what I'm trying to say with it or whatever. And she
and
wasn't giving
I
any
think
credit, I don't think. And it's like
no,
a bold, courageous thing to like basically naked on the stage or whatever, like with no. I don't think that's yeah. And she wasn't giving any credit for that. So
No, I agree. And I think it would have been so easy to have gone even more obvious with that look. Like I like that, she used all of her own natural hair. Um, I think it would have been so easy, for example, to have done like a kind of really crass, basic kind of like giant pubes coming out of like the thing, or like massive overgrown armpit hair. Like that would have been so obvious, and I think would have taken away from it quite a lot. I like that it was just so kind of like understated and just sort of like I'm here and I'm hairy. Like it was just
yeah,
like
exactly.
and I think yeah, like on what you're saying with Hollow, that's exactly like. But I also kind of feel like Hollow sort of bullied them into kind of being like, yes, we get it, because like I think everyone had just taken it as like a given. They'd been like, yeah, we get the message, like that's
But
fine. And I
this is
think
like this is like a whole like proper discussion, I guess, and something we kind of touched on quite a lot on this channel. But like wait, hold on. I forgot what I was I had like a really way I was going to phrase it. I completely forgot what it is now. Um, but like, it's the thing. Like I said, like, no one's arguing with your message. Like what you're saying is correct,
hmm
but I don't know. I had this really good way to phrase it a minute ago. I don't know. It's just like you're making it. It is. I think someone else said it in the episode, but you're making the way you're portraying it is like no one is sympathetic to that, and I think that's like
Dahlia said, talking about your art as if everyone else is too stupid to get it.
exactly. It's not even
Which
just.
was really, yeah.
I agree with her, and I think she said that a few times. I agree with her completely. But it's not even just stupid. It's just like it is condescending, but it's kind of. I think I find it offensive as well because I feel like she's saying like, I don't care about like women's plights. I'm not sensitive to the fact that women are like shamed and go through this. A lot of men are sensitive to that, and like maybe they get more sensitive. And I understand what you're trying to say. Again, I agree with your message, but like the way you're like shouting at everyone about it as if like they are like hating or like going around the street like throwing tampons at her, being like, "You know what I mean?" It's like
for me, Hollow is like the walking embodiment. Oh, sorry,
go on.
And for me, Hollow is like the walking embodiment of that. That meme of just like no one, literally no one, and then like colon and then the thing. That's Hollow to me. It's literally like she's arguing in an empty room, like nobody is disagreeing with you at that exact moment, Hollow. Like I think what she was going for in her message was a really good one. Like it's a week about trash, and your thing is talking about how women's bodies are normally treated as vile, disgusting, as consumable. That's really powerful. That is a great message behind your art and behind your drag. That's great. However, it's like, I mean, I get that she wants to that they want to be really upfront about it and really get that message out. However, I don't. It was a sympathetic crowd. Like it was a crowd who were all like, actually, this is great. And I think one of the Boulay brothers said, you deserve to be here. Like I'm glad you're here. But I almost feel like Hollow had bullied them, not necessarily into saying that. Like I think the Boulets obviously believe that because they chose Hollow, but I don't think like. It felt a bit like I'm really insecure about this, so I'm going to shout at you until you tell me that I'm valid. And it's a bit like Hollow, like that. I mean, there's something quite tragic in that. Like that seems to come from quite a sad place, I think. But it's like it kind of was unnecessary. And I think actually a lot of people, I think actually throughout the whole season, I probably would have been a bit more sympathetic to Hollow if that was the case. And obviously we'll come to it later. But like her, like Hollow's speech at the end. Just before the elimination challenge, where like Eva literally cutting off Eva. So Eva's just sort of saying, look, I'm Eva Destruction. I've got destruction in my name. Like, come on. Like that was a speech to herself. That was very much Eva going like, snap out of it, wake the fuck up, do your best. Like, kick ass in this challenge. You need to stay. Right, and Hollow just sort of walks in and is like, I am Hollow, Eve of Destruction. You're like, fuck's sake, like, okay, great, it's Panto season again. Like, it's just so like it's. And what really I think annoys me is that Hollow seems to be incapable of having a conversation on kind of a one-to-one or even just sort of to small group level. Everything is a monologue delivered dramatically while standing and gesticulating to a room as if like to kind of be like, I am the center of attention. And you're like, okay, fuck's sake, like can you interact with anyone on a one-to-one personal basis without it kind of being grandstanding?
Well, I was going to say, like, the two things are, like, one, imagine how Manila would have handled it. Because obviously she was going to do the same thing if Drag Race stopped her. Like, imagine, like, her, like, the way she would handle it compared to the way Hollow handled it. And two, like, continuing what we were saying before, like, for me personally, it just does her message the opposite, like, a complete disservice, like, the opposite. Like, it makes, she's not making anyone feel more sympathetic to her plight or the plight of women, or it's just making everyone hate her and hate women or whatever.
And you know what? She did that classic thing of like, if someone says I don't give a fuck enough, you're like, well, clearly you do give a fuck because you keep on telling everyone that you don't. Like, clearly, like if you have to tell everyone every 5 seconds that you don't care, you care because you're constantly trying to like assert to everyone that you do your position. And that's what really annoyed me, like her speech where I mean I love Dahlia for just sort of being like, I just like walking away, just be like, I'm not having this.
I would have.
But
I think she was really annoying me, to be honest.
I just, it was just ridiculous because you're like, okay, I get that you need to say this for yourself, but other people don't necessarily need to hear this. Like this is about you.
Yeah, and again, I get like just piggybacking on what you said. I just thought like I did initially really like her outfit and a lot of aspects of it, but like that whole thing just made me hate it and made me like hate her.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like Hollow's craftsmanship in that look, particularly like with sewing the pentaliners, that was genius. And like I love Landon. Like Landon, I thought was really nice and balanced on that, of saying like when I saw what Hollow did with their outfit, amazing. But then you need to learn to take critique.
But that's what the judges said as well. Like, this is the thing. Like, it was literally not even open to interpretation. Judges literally said, like, we completely agree with your message and what you're doing.
And we love your look. You belong here.
And it previously said, drag is an art. We can't judge you for that. It's subjective. Blah blah. I mean, if it couldn't have been like, clearer on what they were saying, but yet Hollow twisted it all and made it seem like it was something it wasn't completely. To not further her agenda, but the opposite. To kind of like she's determined to like ruin women for everyone again.
Well, my Hollow's thing as well, I found really interesting, of like saying I'm not here to be judged by anyone apart from women, or whatever it was that she said.
Yeah, but it's the other thing as well.
Like, well, I mean, you entered a show with like 2 male judges. Are you aware? Like, they pick the winner.
Like most drag queens are basically like a genderqueer anyway, and identify like, you know what I mean. And they're not like, they don't identify strongly with gender or being male or anything. A lot of drag queens anyway. So like, again, like you said, like you're preaching to the wrong crowd completely. Like if you're at a Trump rally, fine, like go off. But like like Dragula, like like listen to a bit of Taylor Swift, you know. So wait, I'd love to say that.
Damn, it's 7 a.m.
Well, obviously, like this is another thing I find confusing, because I would say out of her and Maxi, I know it's something we chatted about previously, so like go back to that for like our full thoughts on that. But like, she identifies as non-binary as well, right? Like I see that for her far more than I do for Maxi. Not just in, like, not in terms of looks necessarily, but in terms of like her demeanor and things like that. Like I understand, like that makes sense to me. But then like this whole episode, she's really going on about like, you know, us women, and you don't know what it's like to be a woman, and like she wasn't talking about it as if it was like a past self or anything. She was talking about it. So I'm like, girl, what is your lane? Like, what lane do you want to be in right now? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's what really confused me about Hollow, is it's always quite a mixed. Hollow speaks as if their message is constantly consistent, and like as if they've been saying this all along. But then what really annoys me is then Hollow's actions and words and whatever seem to kind of either conflict or just sort of random, like be a bit pick and choose sometimes. And it's just a bit like, come on, Hollow, like, fuck's sake. And I think that's the thing. I really enjoyed the look from the waist up. I not necessarily loved it, but I just thought like there's a lot of good stuff that's gone on here. I've kind of maybe seen parts of it before, but the craftsmanship that went into making it out of those materials is very impressive. But then I think what that dramatic speech with like, the last thing I want is conformity, or whatever it was, you know, like being like, I'm totally against conformity. And you're like, well, I mean, nobody's really ever free of conformity. Like there are ways that all of us conform on a daily basis.
It's irrelevant though.
What was that, sorry?
Also, it's irrelevant to the situation.
Oh yeah, massively fucking like. So, are you gonna not conform by not doing the elimination challenge? Are you not gonna conform by like not being on a judged competition? Like, and obviously you can do those things whilst breaking some of the rules. But I feel like, again, it's kind of the what's the word? The lady doth protest too much, right? The idea, like, really, like, constantly having to say it means that you're probably not living it. You're just saying it. Like, I'm so against conformity. Okay, in that case, why have so many of your looks followed like traditional shapes or conventional like other things? Like, there's no real way of completely avoiding conformity, because actually so many things have already been done that you would often be conforming to all of those. The only real way she could have done this whole show in a completely non-conformist way is to have come in completely doing batshit stuff for everything, ignoring every challenge. Like,
basically.
Yes.
Right?
But like, well, yeah. But that's the thing. I was just like, come on now, like, and again, it's just like it's easy to say, like, be like, oh, I'm so against conformity. Like, it's like all those like fucking, like 13-year-olds who are like, oh my god, I'm like so random and like, oh my god, I'm so random and different. I'm not like everyone else. I'm like, yeah, why do literally all of you and your friends look identical? Like,
Exactly.
it's just kind of like, yeah, you're counterculture, but you still belong within, and you're still conforming to some other form of culture. Like
That's like
that's inescapable as humans.
14-year-old SJW. Like she hasn't really like developed or progressed or like refined
Mm.
anything about her views or herself, it seems.
Yeah, and I think as well, like obviously powerful art. Sometimes you do want to make a like say a message and carry the message with it. Sometimes I think that message needs to speak for itself as well. I think it was useful, for example, to say what the text was that was threaded, you
Oh,
know, that
yeah,
she used as the material, because we can't see that as an audience, and it makes a lot of sense to say to connect the dots and say, actually, this book, Cunt, is a Bible of mine. Blah, blah blah. That makes a lot of sense. But then I think to kind of come out and then be like, I'm giving a speech. You're like, okay, great. I mean, the look still isn't that successful in other parts. So, like, by some of our standards. So,
although not really, because no one acknowledged like Eva's anyway, which I'm still mad about. But like
mm.
with Hollows, like it's not the difference is like I literally said multiple times, like we understand exactly what really
It was like
appreciate
talking
it.
to a kid, wasn't it? Like
That's what
just
I
being
mean.
like, no, we still love you, like,
Exactly.
but you're grounded. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it was very that. I saying, but like, so but like, this is like, maybe like there's a slight excuse like rant and rave if no one's like, if people are refusing to like accept the message you're putting forward or whatever. But literally, none of them works. I'm like, what are you doing?
no.
I really wonder if she's watched it back and has like thought about what she's done.
Mm,
I'd see an interview. I don't know. I'd be interested in an interview of her and see if she's, or
yeah.
maybe the reunion, I guess, and
Oh
see if
yeah.
she,
I forget they do. Oh God, we have to listen to another speech.
probably. Hopefully, they're shorting it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Hollow for like 4 hours now.
Yeah.
She doesn't deserve that. Okay. Louisiana.
Okay, so I don't get why everyone was raving about this.
Yeah, I just saw a messy man.
Yeah. I I thought there were aspects of it that were quite fun. I liked the hair. I agree with Bitch. It should have been messy. Um, I liked the colors of it. I just don't necessarily I wasn't sure what I was looking at, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But you know, like these big sort of shoulder pads or
Execution.
whatever.
Bob.
Well, that's the thing. For me, the look as well finished like it kind of it was weird to me that it was kind of like a pencil skirt with those bits, and then like some nice shoes. I was like, I get
Yeah.
like Bitch said, it needed to be messier, and I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at. I
No,
mean, I think for
that's because
Louisiana, like, I'm glad that she did something a bit different.
yeah, I agree with that, but it wasn't well done though. That's the thing. I don't get why she's been so highly praised in this competition, but
No,
she's consistently subpar. She
yeah,
100% was the worst looking one on that stage by a mile this week. I feel I don't think she's on the same league as anyone else at all. I
no.
think she had. Oh, my note on her is she spray painted rats. Well done. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a rat.
Yeah, I
She
mean,
like a
like,
kid like pound store or whatever and spray
right.
painted.
Priscilla put like the head of a possum on hers. Like, come on.
Yeah. That's what I mean. But whereas Dahlia like literally made her face into a rat's face and like had a
Right.
whole vision behind it. That literally shows difference between them. Like, how are they like being judged on the same level? It makes
Yeah.
no sense to me.
It really baffles me.
Yeah. Although, like, to be fair, like, slight nice thing, like, I did think the drawing was good. Like, if she'd executed it better, it could have been good potentially.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
know. But, like, the
And there were
execution
some good elements. Like she still did craft it pretty well. I just wasn't quite sure what I was seeing, and I don't.
well.
I,
I think like she spray painted rats. Like she didn't craft it well. It looked
that's
terrible. None
true.
of it really connected. It wasn't like
Yeah,
obvious. I
true.
can't work out what any of it was. Like the
Yeah.
proportions weren't good. Like it wasn't crafted well. I don't get. Unless
No,
I'm
no,
seeing.
actually,
Maybe
remember.
I watch it again. I see it differently. But I kept I'm like, what is everyone seeing this? I think it's terrible. It's
No.
very like caliente, but like the difference is as well, like in Drag Race for that challenge, for example, in season 4, like they were given like random bits and given like 2 hours to make something or whatever.
Mm.
But she went home and had however many days, make the least like 2 to like make this, and this is what she came up with. And then like because it's not like Chile Caliente level of bad or whatever, people like you're like,
Mm.
oh, it's all right, it's good. But like, no, like she's complete, like she's had more time. She's got like all the resources she wants to make it. And this is what she came up with.
Yeah.
Like went to like a kid's store and bought some rats, and like I don't even know what she did for the rest of it. It made no
And
sense.
the slime thing. I was like, I mean, I get that was quite like it was good that she performed that kind of slime, disgusting thing. I still don't actually know what it was, but um,
It wasn't cohesive. It could have been done well. Like again,
I don't get how the slime connected.
No, that's what I mean. She didn't connect it well enough. That's the point. It could have been done well. She created this maybe in the future in the sewers there's all like this neon sludge or whatever.
Yes,
Like
that's what I was hoping she'd go for.
This is what I mean. If she'd like told a more cohesive, better executed story, it could have been amazing. It could have been really cool. And the drawing I thought had potential for sure. And I agree, it was good she did something different. But just the execution was so terrible. Like none of it came across, and it didn't work at all. So I don't know why she was even safe. But above that, she was highly praised. And it makes no sense to me whatsoever. That's my tea on that. And we've talked about a very great t-shirt, by the way. Kakui.
Thank you. That wasn't me trying to show it off. Like, oh, look at my.
Yes, Queen. Yes.
Yes.
So Dahlia then.
I really enjoyed this. I thought the crafting of the face thing was. I do agree with the judges that it was a bit pretty in parts, but I actually really loved the prettiness of it because what I really liked was she's almost like this little rat queen who's like taken all this trash and has kind of been like, it's kind of like, no, you know, like to anyone else she'd still be like a filthy rat, but like amongst rats she would be like the rat queen.
Yes, exactly.
If that makes sense. And that's what I really enjoyed about the look. I love that there was like the random like wine glass like glued to something, and I love that when she would turn around, like it was just lots of little bits of of rubbish that were identifiable as rubbish. So it was like a Tupperware container, and glued on top was the wine glass, and then underneath that was like a bag from like a product or something. And I was like, this is fucking great. I mean, I don't know how she did all of the face with like those materials. Amazing. I loved the silhouette of it, that it was very poised and regal. Like it had a royal, it had the silhouette of a gown from sort of a very specific period. Like it felt like a period drama, but like her as a rat queen in that, which I thought was great. And even that big kind of billowy rubbish bag bit at the bottom could have been made to look kind of asymmetrical and rubbish, but even like the taping was very like patterned. And like there was an eye for design going on in that I just thought was fucking incredible. I was really impressed by this, as you can probably tell, and I thought it was very successful. I was really glad to see this from her, because I didn't recognize her, because I kind of forgot, like I was kind of like, when she came up I was like, oh, for a little bit I was like, where was Dahlia, like which one was Dahlia, and then was like, shit, like that she looked nothing like herself. And I think as well this episode she sort of stayed out a bit more of the drama to some degree, and I was like, this is Dahlia, this is what I want to see. Like when you really commit like this, you're fucking great. Like back to week one vibes of like where she just like nailed a vision of a look. And yeah, so sorry, I can talk about this for a long time, but I just really enjoyed it.
There's nothing else I want to add. You said exactly like how I feel about it as well. I think like prosthetics were outstanding, but also like it continued, like the dress was outstanding. Like whereas last week the prosthetics were really good, the rest of it was shit. This week prosthetics were great. The dress was great, like loads of attention to detail, but really good cohesion with everything overall. Like the vision was very creative and great. Like everything was just like 10 out of 10. I think great outfit. I think the only thing I guess why I liked Eva's better than Dahlia's was because Dahlia's was kind of more what you'd think of when you went, like it's more obvious, I guess, for this challenge.
That's fair.
Challenges, she's kind of been a bit obvious. That her execution has been outstanding 98% of the time, and her vision's been great, but also not really too outside the box for any of the challenges. Whereas Eva's this week was really out of the box, and that's what I really liked about it. And that's what put it ahead for me. But I think Dahlia's nothing negative said about Dahlia's at all. I think it was great.
And I think if Eva had been a bit more like, it had been a bit more conventional, I think this runway would have been a bit more boring. Like, because I think there's a very strong chance that Eva's more conventional look would have been something in between Dahlia and Priscilla. And that would have meant, well, in a runway of 7, we would have had 3 very, very similar looks.
But also, this is what I was saying about Eva early on, and I think you guys were agreeing, right? Like, we didn't like why I was so excited for Eva is because she does like such like crazy out there looks from everything I've seen of her previously before the show, and then since she's been on the show for most of it, she's just done like really conventional looks.
Yeah.
I've been disappointed in that. Like, they've been well executed, and I can see why she's won or whatever, and like she's been good. But like, I really wanted stuff out of the box from her,
Yeah.
and she gave me exactly what I wanted to see from her. So like, just I was excited by that.
Did she win last week?
I think last week was last week was
the
great.
week before?
The reptile. Thing.
Yeah.
That was really, really good as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, last 2 weeks, like Eva's been like one of my favorite queens ever. But like
Same.
before, like Madeline, last one.
Did we miss London?
Oh shit, yeah, we did. Okay, yeah, London gone.
London. Yeah, London. I thought was a really clever look. Really well created. A bit obvious message wise, but actually really well crafted.
I think it was really messy. I was really unimpressed. I was really
Oh,
disappointed.
really? Yeah. I mean, there were when they showed parts of it later. Part of me was a little bit like, you put a bottle on it and then spray painted over it with the color of the fin, which is not right. There were some other parts. I thought the face, like the top bit, I really enjoyed.
Didn't match, and wasn't masculine. No, it was a completely different color. Look at it. Like, the face was green, the body was blue. And I guess, like,
in fairness, I might be giving Landon an easy ride because I really enjoy them. Like, I quite like his work.
I like
Maybe
Landon
that's why.
A lot. Like, my favorite looking drag race of all time was Aquaria's mermaid look, and I guess it's kind of like the male version of that. So like, I was like really excited for his look initially, and I was just really disappointed. I think they didn't give me Poseidon at all. I think like if she had done the beard or whatever, it probably would have helped a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's a good point you made at the beginning in terms of like limited, like makeup stuff was limited, but I didn't think the masculinization of the face was very good.
No, that's true. I think I did still read it was a bit more androgynous than it was male, which is not necessarily a problem. But I think
you're going like with this like standard, like again, I think I'm getting a bit bored of it as well. Like this, like the standard, like muscle,
like six pack, yeah.
Like again, like if it has a really masculine face, it works better. I don't know, like it was just a bit like if you're going more androgynous, have more androgynous like body, I guess as well to match. I don't know, like I don't know. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I know. I thought it was just like not up to her normal amazing standards. Like the moustache and like eyebrows were just like paper that was glued on and not very done amazingly well. Like it was the message was too obvious and it wasn't well executed. Like parts of it were well executed and it had some really like cool like ideas and aspects in there, but it didn't come together for me. I just think like if it was someone else and like it was the first week or something, I'd be like, oh wow, great. But like because we've seen what Landon's done previously, like compare this to like the Mexican look or whatever, we put them two side by side. Like it's just not up to the same level at all.
That's very true. Yeah, that's a good comparison to make actually, because I think I'd forgotten about that Mexican look. That was really good.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I agree. I think with parts of that, definitely that the message was a bit. It's a bit like
very always the same.
Okay, we got it. Yeah, and I think I think as well, because it's a horror kind of show, I think you can go a bit deeper with that. Like there would be a lot of space to have her like actually choking a lot more, like having actual things really much more strongly around her neck, like not to actually.
Like again, I think it's kind of like I guess this is like an example of like the Hollow Eva thing, where like making something like too explicit and not explicit as in like risque, but explicit as in like obvious, like compared to like Aquaria, where she just walked down a runway and like she just started like dripping like oil, and like she didn't like it wasn't like like I'm being like destroyed by humanity's evil towards the sea. It's more just like this is what you've done to me, kind of thing. Like
and what I absolutely
like tin thing, like plastic hanging off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I mean, you're better than that, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I think actually what I massively appreciated about Aquaria's look was that it was stunning, but like it kind of felt as if like the mermaid had been like choked in all this oil and had tried to find a way of making the oil fashionable.
Yeah.
Like kind of like, oh well, you know, like this ocean, well fuck it, I'm a really glamorous mermaid, I'm gonna turn this into something. Whereas I feel like this was a bit like, oh, I'm a choking merman, and you're like, okay, like we get it.
Well, Aquaria, it was like her way of life. She's like, yeah, like I live in this oil world, like I'm gonna make the best kind of thing.
Yes.
Like, it was like it was tragic. Like, had an air of like tragedy,
Yeah.
beauty. It's like stunning beauty at the same time, or whatever. Whereas like like it didn't look like Poseidon. B, like it didn't like muster any sympathy, or like, do you know what I mean? It made me want to throw like 20 bottles into the sea. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was the opposite effect. Whereas Aquarius was like, oh my god, like he
Yeah.
was die. Like,
I think it makes.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry. No, sorry. I keep on cutting you off. It's really bad of me.
By saying send a copy of Always Same Blue Sky to everyone's stat, you know? That's what Aquarius look made me feel. But this look, I'm like, burn that book.
But also, get Always the Same Blue Sky on Steam.
Exactly. Very reasonably quid.
It's a really good game, Jamie. But what was I going to say? Yeah. So I think, and I think also that lent itself, that kind of made it a lot harder for Landon when he came to the interviews, because I think to talk about your look and talk about the environment in the interview isn't like going to be as sexy or exciting. Like, you know, Priscilla had loads of places to go.
I feel like it's the same thing. Like, you could have handled it. Like, I think like if Aquaria, again, I would say, I was going to say initially, like Aquaria wouldn't have done it, but I think she would, because she was like, she kept surprising us of how smart she was.
That's true.
So like, I think Aquaria would have probably gone, like, if she's in that situation in her look, she might have gone up and not really like focused on the oil side of it. She might have been like, I don't think she would have been as blatant about it. She could have. It would have been far more effective, I feel, if she hadn't talked about. Say, if you're talking about Poseidon, like Landon's one specifically, if it hadn't talked about like it so blatantly and just I don't know, like it just been. I don't know how to really phrase it, but like kind of like hinted at or kind of thing during her answers, but. I don't know, I think it would have been better, more effective. Like, kind of to Aquaria, like more effective in the interview with Aquaria. It's just like, yeah, like I don't know, like just talking about normal like mermaid stuff. I can't think of what it would be, like under the sea stuff or whatever, and like having like an air of sadness about it all, you know, which like make it, yeah, exactly, which will make it like, you know, effective in that way. Like if you're just having an air of sadness about it or whatever, as opposed to being like, oh, look at this oil I'm covered in, that's because of you, thanks for that. Do you know what I mean? If you're just like, oh yeah, like I'd love to go and I don't know, visit my gran, but I can't, you know, I kind of. I don't know. That's really
even, you know, like an idea of like, oh, you know, well, I don't even know where I am. I just got caught up in a net and now I'm here. You know, kind of that, almost like.
Yeah.
But like, I think especially, and obviously, as you know, I was super fucking happy that Disasterina was in this episode. But like, you've got Disasterina interviewing you. You can go to crazy places. Like, you don't have to give pageant answers. Like,
I still the only one that did, which was really strange.
And I think Priscilla, I mean, like you said, yeah, like obviously anyone could have gone there with their interviews. But I feel like Priscilla had given herself an easy way into that, because Priscilla almost can't do a normal interview while dressed like that.
Yeah. Also, like, that's also her personality. Again, I think Priscilla has been. I've been impressed with Priscilla, especially the last few episodes. But she's always been like the same character, though. To be fair, so
yeah, that's true.
She knows it well, so fair enough.
That's true. But no, I think that was really that was a shame, because I think the interviews as well were a really fun. You know, the interviews did seem to play a somewhat big role in the decisions. So
what do you think? Why did she? I mean, she kind of explained it, but still, it was a bit weird. And
that was a random addition. I think it was just an excuse to get Disasterina in, and to see if.
Like, I'm not saying specifically. Eva's like Eva literally said nothing. Remember, Eva asked the question. She said nothing.
Well, that's the thing. I do wonder if she probably had said something. The editing. This is what annoyed me about the editing of just like, Disasterina. Well, that was a very sad interview. You know, it's just like, it was kind of a bit. I mean, maybe fair. I don't know. We don't know how much umming and ahhing there was in that, but that was a shame, obviously, for Eva. But
yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So one more thing. During during Landon's judging, Hollow says something to Priscilla, and they're we don't know what they said, right? Like,
she seemed to be saying, I think, cause the little bits you could hear was sort of saying like she didn't seem to feel that good. Just sort of like, can I hold your hand? Like, she was sort of feeling. Okay. I actually thought something more dramatic would happen. Like, I thought I was worried that Hollow would pass out. and it's just seemed to be some kind of nervousness potentially around being judged. And that's what I actually found quite frustrating about Hollow's speech, was it was sidestepping. It was like, instead of maybe dealing head on, which is not easy, but dealing head on with facing criticism, it was, I'm only here to be judged by women. And you're like, okay, but the two people who are going to decide if you win £25,000 or not are these two men over here. So
But
they're
also,
also trying to make you a better performer.
but also they're like, but isn't it disrespectful as well? Someone who's in drag presenting as a woman to like not respect them as like, obviously not biological women, but still, but like to be like on someone's show, like RuPaul wouldn't be like, you know, I only want a woman, only a woman can judge me. I look at RuPaul. You're not going to say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. We talked about it a lot already, though. So
Yeah, but I think it was kind of strange, because I thought that little bit. I mean, it was, obviously the judging can be harsh, and they go through a lot. So
it wasn't. It wasn't
maybe
critiqued though, as well.
yeah.
You know what I mean? The critique wasn't like your outfit's shit. It's like it's actually really good. It just needed more. That was literally like
Yeah, and I think Hollow took it as like, oh, they're insulting the fact that I've chosen to show legs, and like I wanted to show these as whatever. I'm like, okay, I get that there might have been a thing to the legs. I think what they are saying is actually the silhouette of it. If you step back, and especially when the camera was looking at all 7 of them on stage, Hollow's did look noticeably weaker, because actually her legs sort of just blend in with everything in the background. Like it doesn't catch the line quite.
Initially, I don't know what she was going for. She didn't say that bit of it, but like I liked her outfit initially before she made me hate it. I liked it was kind of like quite soft and pretty, and it gave me like a ballerina kind of vibe.
There was definitely a ballet.
Which that had that, but also at the same time, it's very aggressive. Had like a warrior aspect to it, so it's kind of like a warrior ballerina, but obviously, which to me suited the message she was going with perfectly. So I know that's kind of what I know. Maybe she's done stuff on the bottom half. You would have lost that ballerina aspect of it a bit more. But I don't know whether that's what she was purposely going for or not. Whether that's just my interpretation of it.
I totally got ballerina from that as well.
So
it was very constructed, like bigger kind of things up here, like the dramatic face things, and then going down into like that image just around her legs. But that's why I feel like she could have been a bit clever, and actually the Boulets probably would have been happy with her just adding a couple of like white straps like going up the leg a little bit to give it a ballerina look.
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like just doing a tiny bit of that, but making them a bit dirty and edgy, or even having like a little trail of blood down her leg. Because actually, I feel like that's what the Boulets were kind of getting at. Like, actually add one extra little touch to this. Like, you're talking about the things that, we tell women are disgusting, and she's made this out of panty liners and whatever. Have a bit of blood.
But what I don't get as well, like, what happened to the whole frozen tampon thing as well? That whole drama from before. I assume that'd be.
I'd forgotten about that.
Use for then, like, what are they for then? If they're not for this look,
didn't she not use them for another look?
I don't think so. Did she?
They were. I think that episode that there was the thing about it. I think she did use them for part of it.
Oh, did she? I don't remember.
Because there's something about them smelling bad. I remember someone like. Because I remember she was saying that in her look she smelt bad at that time because she had them on her.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't remember.
But I can't remember that. I might be misremembering that. But I think that's the thing. I kind of would have liked to have seen. And it was, it meant to be a trash look, and actually parts of it were quite pretty, right?
Exactly. Which
like
I like.
It was all in white, all very clean white, and I think that's probably what the Boulets were getting at as well. Is actually like, I don't know, a trail of blood down her leg, or like a bit of toilet paper on her shoe, or like things going up the leg to make it look a bit more like a ballerina. I get that Hollow was saying that they thought about all of this. But I think it would have just been nice to have seen an extra bit of that thought reflected in part of the look, to kind of say, look, I have thought about these legs as well. I get that it looks a bit dull on the way down, to even like have no fishnet stockings on, write words like fat or like slut or whatever on her leg. Like, because if she's got, No. If she's going for the whole digging myself out of a ditch here, if she's going for the whole like reclaiming things that women are told make them dirty,
no, she's going with one particular aspect. She wasn't doing like an Amber Rose thing. She was going for one specific thing.
That's true. Yeah, because I was thinking the kind of Amber Rose. Yeah.
But also, like, it's like no. I agree with everything you're saying, but also there's no need to like go into these details, I guess, because she wasn't like no one was disputing it. She wasn't even herself necessarily disputing the that could have been different. She wasn't even open to listening to that. Her whole thing was like, they're not respecting my
True.
message. I'm trying to say, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to anything they say anyway. I'm not. It's perfect. I'm not going to listen to them. Like
Mm.
it's more about that, I feel, than like disagreeing with like. I know she said like, I don't agree with anything you said, blah, 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 but I think it was coming from a place of like, because you don't respect my message. I don't think it's coming from a place of like technical, like she thought technically what she did was perfect or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's so annoying. I can't pop. I can't anymore with her.
True. Let's go to Madeline.
Genuinely can't. Sorry.
Let's go to Madeline and pretend that we're not.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, guys, what do you think of Madeline's look?
So I actually quite enjoyed this look. I still think safe was the right choice. I don't think it was necessarily high compared to some of the other queens. I like that Madeline started with this kind of very sort of dramatic, almost Elizabethan white thing, and then spray painted black. And I thought that, like, massive props to her for. I mean, I'm guessing it must have been somewhat edible and non-toxic spray, but like full on like in the performance, because the performance I didn't necessarily I wasn't necessarily blown away by the look, but I think having that look and then like the performance of like spraying that all over your face, in your mouth, and like it all dribbling down the look, I really enjoyed that.
See, I'm the other way around. I think you look initially, I quite liked it. I didn't think it was mind blowing, but I'm like, cool, like I'm into this. And when she spray painted, she ruined the look completely, and it didn't tie in enough to like the challenge or the theming for me. I'm like, black spray paint, how is that trash? Like the people like going
That's
spray
the
paint
point.
trash. Like I wasn't really like.
True, it's more filth than trash, isn't it?
Yeah, it just seemed to be like edgy for the sake of it. Like, okay, I'm going to like non-amazing
That's a good
look
point.
now.
Yeah.
So like, this is my whole thing with her. I feel like she's like a Britney girl who's trying to like Christina it up for a day, like every episode. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's going against like her natural instinct. Is that what you see what I'm saying though? Where she's like, oh, like this would be edgy if I paint the black stuff on me. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, is that too harsh?
That's fucking perfect.
Right?
That is the best thing I've ever heard. So no, but I totally get what you mean. I think the first couple of episodes, I remember having a bit of a similar thought around Madeline, of like, she's very good at pulling off very pretty, polished looks with a bit of an edge to them. Like what's the villain, like Poison Ivy. Like I feel like she'd be very good at doing someone like Poison Ivy, like very, very like well executed, pretty look with an element of danger. And I think I'd actually quite like to see what she could do on something like Drag Race.
Yeah, I feel like she's far more suited to Drag Race personally.
Yeah. I also wonder if she could do a sort of Melissa Be Fierce kind of thing, of like then doing something fucking balls to the wall and crazy in like the final performance.
I feel like Melissa Be Fierce was true to herself the whole way through. Like
That's
I bought
true.
everything she sold. Like she wasn't necessarily selling us exactly what we wanted enough or all times or whatever, but at least it was authentic to me. And like Madeline, as I said, for me, like I'm not buying it. I'm just more just like, oh, like I feel like she's like, oh, this will be edgy, this will be edgy, this will be edgy. It's not just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's, whereas like, who was the one who actually was good? Like Eva, like she didn't even do anything necessarily. Like there was no performance aspect to it, but it was just edgy, you know. And it was like true, authentic kind of thing. Whereas like, Madeline's like, prepare myself black, the gag. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of. You know what I mean?
Actually, I think I'm coming around to what you're saying on that. I hadn't really thought about it through the lens of like actual trash. I think I enjoyed it as a look and a performance by itself, but then actually through the lens of like a trash look, and particularly compared to Dolia and Priscilla and Eva's looks this week, you are like, actually, this doesn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, I wasn't buying. I don't think it was enough. But like eating a slime or whatever, like and dribbling out, like that was at least relevant. Like it was like relevant to the challenge or whatever. Like it didn't seem like as kind of try hard. That's what I'm looking for. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like that's the whole episode, right? Is there any other thoughts you had that you wanted to contribute to the family?
Not on the looks. The interviews. Oh yeah, so I'm trying to think. I don't think there was anything else that noticeable about the interviews that I can remember. No. Again, I love Disasterina's like little cut hole in the dress that showed her tattoo.
Oh, I noticed.
Oh,
That's
so
cool.
it's amazing. There's a bit of fabric that was torn out, that was cut out, and then it had like a bit of see-through film,
Mm,
and then it was like actually Disasterina's tattoo on her like
that's cool.
side or something, which I was like, oh, Disasterina. I was just so glad to see Disasterina back. Oh, one thing we didn't cover from the episode is the whole take a note out of Abora's look, out of Abora's book, or
Yeah,
don't, um kind of
yeah.
shade.
I never meant by that
I
because you
think
didn't
it was. Hmm?
because you didn't win, or because you was a nightmare. Like one of those
I
two
think
things.
yeah, I think because I think the original bit was about being a bit trashy and kind of committing a little bit more and being a bit like more out there. And I think the other Boulets, the whole thing about or don't was just about like actually a lot of the criticisms they had of Abora were that she would kind of go a bit out there, but then not really meet the challenge, or like not really do it as well as she could have done, or not perform it the way. And there was always something a tiny bit missing from the
Yeah,
judges' side perspectives about Abora.
I love Abora. Oh, maybe
Okay.
that was that. Yeah, that's fair. Also, like the other thing we didn't really mention is the beginning intro video theme because I'm kind of over them. But I think it definitely is like continuing narrative now because
Yeah,
I'm
isn't it?
kind of
Was this
interested
the
to
one
see
with
where
cleaning the
it goes.
floor?
Sorry.
Was this the one about cleaning the floor?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Very boring. I felt, but at least like continuing narrative or whatever. And I want to see where it goes. Somewhat like not that much. Like if they never showed another one, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, I can't like carry on living without knowing what happens in this story. Do you know, it's not that much, but I'm kind of like okay, like I'm somewhat invested now. Like
yeah,
1 out of 10 on the investment scale. You
yeah.
know
One thing I did actually rant to Chris about this. What the
what?
fuck with the elimination challenge?
What a roach thing.
That is the stupidest,
I
because
know, mate.
basically, like,
That was
you
alive.
have better lung strength is what
Yeah,
you're going for. Like that's the basis by which you're eliminating someone, and I guess to some degree holding your nerve or whatever. But like, it annoyed me. I think it would have been. It didn't test them in the same way. Like this feels like a more arbitrary one where like you could have had a queen, like say for example Yovska had been like slaying the game for the entire season and then had
yeah.
failed here. Yovska would be out, and actually, well, I mean, Eva, for example, almost was out. And
I know. Yeah, yeah, I felt that as
if
well.
Eva hadn't blown a cockroach stronger than Hollow had blown a cockroach,
I
we'd
know.
have
So
lost someone who's won two challenges in the last five, and has been high on a couple of other ones.
yeah.
Like we would have lost a top competitor because of their lung strength.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I
It
completely agree.
pissed me off. I saw a tweet from Eva though, which I thought was quite fun. Which is apparently after Eva blew it into Hollow's mouth, apparently Hollow did take it out and like full on like chew it and like whatever and like get behind it. And then
Okay.
Eva got a cockroach and did the same in kind of
Okay, cool.
solidarity with, which I thought was
Okay.
quite nice of you.
Yeah, it's quite
But
nice.
no, I mean
Cool.
it pissed me off as an elimination challenge
Yeah, I agree. Well,
because
it's
I
like
just
so
thought
it's
like
like the last
it was
two. Like I don't
lazy.
know what they're doing with elimination challenges. They've been ridiculous with most of the seasons. Like
No, it's so weird as well because they've just been so mismatched. Like you've had, for example, in one of them, they had to literally get tattoos that they will have for the rest of their lives that were chosen by other people and maybe still go home. With
yeah,
this, it's like, oh, I made you eat a cockroach.
I know exactly. Like put that at the beginning. Like put that episode one. Do you know what I mean? Like not the
Yeah,
tattoos.
I'm glad I didn't have to eat the cockroach.
Exactly. Stupid.
uh,
Um,
but like,
yeah.
no, I mean that pissed me off. I also thought it was quite interesting. Just kind of the sort of juxtaposition, I guess, or just like the fact like everything Hollow was saying, and then the video that they had for Hollow's death, because Hollow's death video was actually in many ways a very typical blow for blow thing of how many of like many women meet their death in terms of like actual violence against women. It was a lot less like horror campy kind of like running through a
True.
window thing like, oh no, it was a lot more like actual violence against women.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought it was kind of like finally shutting her up. You know, like too
oh
far.
god,
Too far.
yes.
But also,
But no, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? Like it's so that's what I thought. Maybe I'm reading it differently because it's not a drag queen, but a bio queen.
no,
Maybe I'm reading.
it definitely wasn't as campy as the other ones, and I did notice that as well. I did clock that as well.
But I thought actually weirdly made Hollow's point slightly more. Or actually, I don't know how Hollow feels about this. Part of me was thinking as I was watching it, like, how would Hollow feel about this? Like, obviously they've acted in it, but like it's an actual. This is the kind of scene I could see being in a film where someone would be like, actually, this is exploitative, or like this is like horror porn, or like like in the sense that it's kind of not necessarily glamorizing, but it's a really artistic, dramatic interpretation of like a woman's final moments in a way that like the campy drag ones are kind of meant to be seen through the lens of like an 80s horror film, whereas this felt like a bit too real. And like for example, like there was a scene in, wasn't there like a scene in one of the Tomb Raider games about Lara Croft's rape, and a lot of people said that it had basically gone too far because it was sort of rape porn, or like horror, or like violence against women kind of porn.
Sure, yeah.
And I actually did kind of wonder if Hollow's one sort of went towards that to some degree. Like I still think obviously the fact that someone does one every week is, takes away some from that, but yeah, maybe I'm reading it differently because it's.
I initially thought that as well, and I kind of thought about, okay, why would they have chosen this like less campy one? I kind of thought like, she's being choked with a plastic bag because suffocated plastic bag because it's like rubbish. Like that's what it's like, a trash bag.
Oh,
like, that's the connection. That's why I'm like, maybe it's probably just that, and a bit like tasteless.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I hadn't made that connection stupidly.
It was, but I agree with you. I don't think it removes your points. It was like it was objectively less campy than the other ones for some reason. But I think it was just like, okay, maybe it's Hollow's acting, because maybe like she is so intense. Like it was supposed to be campy, but Hollow just can't do anything like that. So we just took that approach to it. Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
I don't think they were like, oh, Hollow's gone out. She's been talking about women or like whatever issue it is, and we're going to choke a plastic bag. I think it's like they know exactly like this is the theme of the episode. Like they've got them all laid out before any of the contestants get eliminated, and then it's just like, okay, this is a plastic bag week or whatever. I think it was just that, right?
Plastic bag week.
Well, genuinely, right? Like,
no, but you're right. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know.
Because they have been a lot more themed. Because I think in previous ones, it feels like they've recorded all of them before the season starts, right? Because I think they did, because there was one of Bitch Pudding.
Oh, previous seasons, yeah, previous seasons, yeah. For sure. But this season, it's always like it relates directly to the challenger that week. So, it didn't.
And they're still in the same outfit that they died in, that they were eliminated in.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add?
Not massively. Just it was fun to have both Bitch and Disasterina back, like two of the queens I adored from last season. So
just watch season 2, Okay.
Might have rewatched
it. Any recommendation? Okay, that's the end of chatting about Dragula. Any recommendations for children?
I don't even know what I've been doing recently. I'm reading an interesting book about the environment called "This Changes Everything" by. It's by London Cider. It's
really?
No. It's by Naomi Klein, who's really interesting. She kind of goes in for the jugular. So thanks, Grant. But no, she's a really brilliant writer, and like it's some environmental things I've read have been a bit like, don't do this, it's bad. And I think hers is very much like, so actually a large problem behind this is capitalism. I'm like, yes. Well, like unrestrained capitalism. So it's really interesting. So I've been really enjoying that. That's all I've really done. I haven't really done much else. But no, it's really interesting, and I think also makes the political statement a lot better than, for example, the London Cider's Poseidon, or what was her name? The exclamation point.
Dax.
Not Dax. Her daughter, who was in who wore the meat dress.
Oh, I don't remember. We don't need to remember her name. It's fine.
No, her. Like her kind of lame political statement. This is better. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's a good one. Mine is just Mario Kart Mobile. Like everyone's playing it. It's done like 10 times the numbers of Pokemon Go apparently.
I didn't realize this was a thing.
Yeah, it came out a couple of days ago, and I've been pretty addicted. Mario Kart Mobile, very, very good. Also, you get like a gold membership for free for 2 weeks. So I just did that, and I'm going to try and unlock everything. I've cancelled it already. It's ridiculous. Like it is like a money grab, but like it's fine. Like you don't have to spend any money in it at all, and you can still do everything. It's just like you don't want to get all the characters you want unless you spend money on it. But I've actually been lucky with my unlocks is like a gacha system, which I'm here for. I don't think it's particularly fairly execute gacha system, but I just been stupidly lucky and I got like the best unlocks already anyway, so I'm cool. But it is really fun. I think graphically it's my favorite Mario Kart game. Like I don't think it's necessarily the most impressive graphically. It's not quite as impressive, but like it's got a really cool stylized look to it. I think super good. So
Nice.
I think again, it's kind of points recommendations. I think everyone's playing it already, apart from you. But no, genuinely, like, Pokemon Go by far was the biggest like downloads on the first day. Mario Kart's done like 10 times that or something. Like literally, everyone's downloading it.
So it's not a similar kind of style of thing to Pokemon Go, right? It's not like location based.
The control scheme's a bit weird. I've got this like Android control pad that I bought, like hoping it worked in Mario Kart, and it doesn't. So that's kind of the control scheme's not amazing, but apart from that, it's really well done. It's quite arcadey. It's more like the Mario Kart arcade games.
Oh, sweet.
Which is cool. Actually, no, sorry, that's a better recommendation, which is more niche, which is a mobile game. I'm actually going to mobile gaming now, which is probably good for my career, called Meteor Fall, which I highly recommend. It's like a card-based battling game like Slay the Spire, which is like a horror talk about. But it's a really good Meteor Fall. I think it's very good. Highly recommend that.
Good.
Cool. Anything else to add, or should we bounce?
Let's bounce.
Let's bounce. Okay, cool. So we're trying to stream next week. Rob's coming out here, so I can probably just force him to stream with me. Depends on what we're doing. But yeah, I hopefully see you guys next week. If not, we'll sort out a stream at some point in the next few weeks for sure. And I'll wait to watch episodes until I stream as well. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you didn't watch live. Thanks for watching. So yeah, sorry I've got to be a bit quiet. But hopefully it was still a good stream. I still feel like we spilled a good amount of tea. So I think we should
All
be
over
very
the place.
proud of ourselves. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, is that done?